Thanks for tuning in to Josh and Sean's little show, the Variant Verdict. My name is JokerFan279, and you can follow me at Hackthemovies on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. Thanks for watching, and on with the show. The show.
Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Onimus.
This is Sean Kelly, and welcome to episode 17 of the Variant Verdict. But first, I do want to give a very warm thank you to Tony from Hackthemovies. Thank you for that intro. He went above and beyond helping us, and as fans, thank you.
And if you guys aren't watching his stuff, follow him at Hackthemovies on YouTube.
Absolutely.
He's great. If you haven't seen him on Cinemassacre, he's also part of a lot of their segments and does work with them. Excellent, funny channel. Check him out.
Definitely.
All right, so tonight we're going to take a look at Sonic the Hedgehog, the most famous Sega property, the mascot, the face of the brand.
Yeah.
This is a movie that's based on him. So let's get right into the nitty-gritty. What did you think of the movie?
Well, I don't know if this speaks much, but it's one thing I can guarantee. This is better than Super Mario.
Okay.
So
I'll leverage that argument.
So when it comes to Sonic versus Mario, I think Sonic kind of got a gut punch in there with a better movie. But I don't think this was as horrible as I was expecting. I went into this with a very low expectation. I didn't mind the fact Ben Schwartz was Sonic. James Marsden being with another CGI animal kind of felt like this might be Hop 3 or whatever they're in.
Yeah, poor James Marsden. He always has to act against the nothing in these kids' movies.
He's not bad at it. So it's I don't.
No, he's. You know what though? I like him. I like him enough as an actor. He's one of my favorite parts about.
Great
Westworld.
in Westworld, yeah, that's the thing. So I don't mind that. And no, but ultimately, I did not walk away from this with feeling that the movie was as bad as I expected it to be, as well as, it was a little better than I was expecting it to be. Is it the best? Is it like a holy shit great movie? No. But out of all the video game movie adaptations out there, upper tier?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I would say that of all the video game adaptations, it's not the worst. It's not even close.
No.
But I'm going to say at the end of the day, I really still don't like this movie.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the whole reason there is a video game curse, because some things to me don't translate from one medium to the other that well. Sonic is all well and good as a fun jump around from platform to platform.
Yeah.
Save the damsel, in his case, save his friends, the animals, whatever have you. But the same similar premise that you get from all those type of old school platformer games, they don't always translate to real life. And they did their best. This movie essentially follows Sonic. He's got a position on Earth. He's lived there for many years.
Yeah, right in the beginning of the movie, he gets chased out of his homeworld by, I guess you can say, Knuckles, right? Whatever Knuckles race is, all tribal. So they, real quick, just intro to his caretaker, then they get attacked and thrown into Earth. 10 years later, within the first 3 minutes.
They were very, very reminiscent of Kal-El and Superman.
Yeah,
he literally he's in a position of danger. She gets him out of there. He basically stays on Earth in his own little bubble unto himself until one day he creates a mess. You don't even have to get into the details. It's not that important.
Yeah.
But he creates a mess, causes people to know that he exists.
Yeah,
he's just a myth in the town of Green Hill, which is a nod to the game.
Oh, yeah, the town is called Green Hills. There's, all the levels of Sonic are in it in, signs. Road signs, street signs, things like that. All the names.
Yeah, Sonic at one point is playing ping pong in his little cave on Earth. And when he's playing against himself, he's actually playing on a highway sign.
Yeah,
Hilltop Zone.
Yeah, Hilltop Zone. And yeah, exactly. It's Hilltop Exit. And it's so they have a lot of nods to it, which I can appreciate, where they don't flat out, well, actually mistaken. Right in the beginning of the movie, you see Sonic's world, which is the world that we know.
And I actually really liked that. I thought I would love to have explored, seen a whole movie set in that world. To me, the most boring elements of this film were the real world stuff.
Well,
being centered around Sonic. I just wanted to see all the fantastical elements that comes with the Sonic story. I was so much more interested
For
in
some
that.
reason, movie studios don't think that we'll care that it's set in a fantasy world. And it has to be taken on Earth, and you gotta have your fish out of water. No, we don't have to. Especially if it was a CG movie, like, where he's CG, everything, like... Let it be the other... Like, I will admit, like, the very beginning of the movie, I am kind of like, can this be, 20, 30 minutes longer? Why does it have to end so quick? I wanted to see more of that world that you got to play in.
Yeah, it's let's get to probably what's on everyone's mind. How is Jim Carrey in this movie? Because Jim Carrey was definitely highly promoted when this film was coming out. Jim
Carrey and Sonic, I would say, are obviously the best parts of this movie. I like James Marsden, everything about it. It's just, again, go back to it's Hop again. It's just him working with another CG actor and all that. Where Jim Carrey, how many roles outside of the Riddler, which didn't even feel villainous to me? Was he actually a bad guy?
The way I feel about this, though, is that the Riddler was laughably bad. It's aged poorly in the sense that it's a bad role that you can laugh at while watching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure Sonic is just... I'm not sure I'm conflicted whether I think he was just bad in it or, goofably over the top, and it'll be, aged well later. And people will be like, that was funny because of how over the top, the way, Nick Cage is revered for when he goes full Cage. Because, I just didn't think it was that good. I thought he was okay. He was eccentric. He wasn't doing something he's done before, so I give that to Carrey. He was making the character his own.
Well, that's the other thing. What is
But I wasn't
Robotnik?
I wasn't really impressed with what his own was.
But my whole thing, what character did he have to go off of? What character is
No, I agree.
Besides,
but that goes back
I'm
to
fat,
point.
I have robots, I want to take over the world.
These video games don't always make the easiest adaptations, and I think it's quite simple because when you got a game like Sonic, it's just such a fantastical setting. These characters are so over the top. They're like the cliche arch rival. They have very little personality. His whole personality is just, catch Sonic, stop the Chaos Emeralds, and all this confusing, fantastical shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't always translate to film, and I think like I said, he was unique. But as you mentioned, he doesn't have a lot to go on.
And, there are certain things about it which they kind of the audience does. They give kind of a nod to the audience, okay, we get it. Where when they do bring him in, they aren't, half of the table is what the hell is wrong with you? Him? They already knew he was insane. And
in the universe, they kind of treat it like they're in on the joke with the audience, that, he's so much more over the top and heightened compared to the rest of the people he's acting
exactly,
around. And which seems to be a common symptom of Jim Carrey. They like to make him a heightened person in the center of everyone who's kind of playing it cool and more droll than him.
I think if you didn't have Jim Carrey in this movie, it would hurt it tremendously.
He makes it much more entertaining. I'll give it that.
And especially the last time you see him, I guess when you can say he's become Robotnik. It made me want to see more.
They did this one thing with Robotnik too, where they kind of reminded me of the way they handled Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio in Far From Home, where he uses these gloves that are attached to his hand, on his hands to.
Yeah, it's it's how he controls his robots, just with his gloves.
Yeah. Most of the time he's posing a threat. He's just controlling drones.
In a way, they give you an explanation of how the hell is he controlling all this shit. They're just sitting in these gloves, so it's little things. They added some things, but yeah, I didn't necessarily hate Robotnik. I can see how a lot of people would. I can't argue how you may not like him. I get it, but I enjoyed it a little more. But one thing I also want to keep in mind, and I don't know if I've said this already, this is a kids movie. This is not a movie for
this movie
us.
Doesn't, unlike most Pixar films where they have that tongue-in-cheek dad-mom joke that's specifically aimed at them to go over the kid's head in the audience.
Yeah,
they know that those parents have to bring those kids. They have to get there somehow, and just to throw in a bit, they'll make it adult-oriented. This movie, little to none. That was also kind of strange because I figured they knew that their demographic would have at least somewhere in between the 30s and 40s. These games are very old. And honestly, it goes for the lowest common denominator of age, which kind of is surprising.
They just don't have any faith in us as an audience. I think.
Yeah, so I think the script could use so much more punch. I think there could have been. I think Ben Schwartz was okay with what he had to work with, but even still, I didn't think he was that funny. I thought he handled him well, voiced him well. He sounds like Sonic, but the script was pretty bad.
I'm not going to say this was like a hilarious movie because it wasn't at all. It had a few moments in there which made me chuckle, but at no point did I ever like bust out laughing or like, I like legit like let out a cackle. Like it was just like
Okay,
it would be very.
so let's just put it this way. What is like what are the things that we liked about it? What we didn't like, and do we recommend this?
I liked the representation of Sonic's powers. I liked that a lot. I say I liked Robotnik because keep in mind this is also like an origin story. Like Robotnik isn't fat yet. Like there is no tails.
Spoilers, guys.
Who's fallen over?
They legitimately set up the old Dr. Robotnik's look by the end of the film to set you up for what could be a sequel, and we'll get to that in a moment. But that is how it ends. So clearly, the studio says if this movie makes enough money, we'll get more of these.
No, that's pretty much Like there is no, like I said, there's no tails. You got a glimpse of like Knuckles' race, like not even Knuckles. So like they left things out there so that if there's a sequel, they have something to work with. They didn't just bust everything out all at once. And I think even a lot of that would be hated too. Here's the thing, video game and comic book and this, you will never satisfy everybody because they don't want to be. So, and that's my opinion at this point is that like nothing will satisfy them. You can come out with a shot-for-shot remake and then people will still complain about it.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah.
You're never going to win, so just come out with what you can. Like, just do it. I mean, I, for one, I guess this is kind of an admission, a brave admission here, but like, out of all video game movies I've ever seen, one or two movies I would say that truly like adapted the look and feel of the video games are Mortal Kombat and probably Silent Hill. And even though like their stories may not have lined up or anything, like when she's walking around Silent Hill, it looked like she was fucking walking around Silent Hill. When they're in Mortal Kombat, when they're there, all right, I'm watching Mortal Kombat. So it's like Sonic is close in that family. Like I still feel like I'm watching a fucking Sonic movie. So it's not like Mario, where you can put that shit on and you're like, what movie is this? And you're like, Mario, and you're like, no, it's not. And so
yeah, no, definitely. And for me, I think the best thing about the movie was probably the action. Kudos to the visual effects teams. Y'all did pretty good, it feels like to me. I enjoyed the slow motion.
That Quicksilver, like
the bullet time effect.
Exactly.
They did was really cool. That I really enjoyed. So the visual effects was definitely one of the highlights. Even did a great job with the redesign of Sonic.
Oh, I also liked how they gave a little answer to what the hell these rings were. Like how the rings weren't just like a coin base. Like they were actually like portals into other universes, like other worlds and stuff.
What I didn't like about the movie. I like the cast. I don't like the script. I think that the cast just comes off as dull because what they're saying isn't particularly interesting. It doesn't. Most of the punchlines ripped right from the trailers. Mm-hmm. There isn't a whole lot of stuff to uncover when going to see this movie after you've seen the trailers. I got to be honest.
The most that's really there to uncover is like what Robotnik, the more of him. That's it. Like Sonic, you kind of got your idea in the trailers. Marsden, you got it in the trailers.
I will leave it at that. I think the thing about this franchise that's like keeps me a little conflicted, at least this film, was that, as I mentioned before, this being a movie that sets up a sequel where you actually see Robotnik become what he looks like traditionally with the long stash, the bald head, the red suit. That's by the end of this film. And I thought to myself, well, there's no Tails, not even an Easter egg or cameo. There's no Knuckles, neither with that. No one. No Amy, obviously, or Rose.
Well, they came way later anyway.
Just nothing. Like, it's just Sonic in the rings. And the one scene where you see the, like, world. So that's where I think that this has potential to be something cooler, because a lot of the awesome iconography from the titles following Sonic 1 is kind of what makes, like, you got
Supersonic, like that did not happen.
Tails
I thought it might have
was introduced in part 2.
Yeah.
But they've become, like, integral to the series.
No, they have.
So that's where I will say, like, this could have potential. This movie itself just didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, one other thing I would like to say, I guess, is not necessarily a positive of the movie in general, but something I appreciated from it. This movie was prime to have your like Sonic can't be seen. Let's have him hiding all throughout the house while somebody's just barely noticing him and all that. Like all those stereotypical like bullshit shit you see in kids movies. None of that was really in this.
It is like an
kind of-
hour-long cat and mouse game, though.
Well, it
For
is.
the most part.
It's an A to B movie. It's they need to get somewhere, and while they're trying to get there, they keep running into snake. Like every fucking movie's like that now. Like they can't not make an A to B movie.
Do you recommend this movie to our audience?
I recommend it if you got kids. Your kids will probably really enjoy it. You'll, you know, if you're a hardcore Sonic fan, you might like it more than the average person, but at the same time, you're running the risk of hating it as much as more than the average person because it's not in the world. It's not, it doesn't have all the characters like you were saying. It's just Sonic. So
my feeling is if you have kids that like Sonic, go take them to see it. They'll get something out of it. Even if you like Sonic and you grew up on it, I could still say I really wouldn't recommend it. There's so many good Oscar movies being re-released since that's happened, and you have Harley Quinn, the Birds of Prey film, which is really good. I can't in good faith say go see this over any of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you haven't seen any of those, definitely go see those first over.
But if you have a child that's into Sonic, because like I said, if you're a big fan and you go see the movie, I don't expect you to leave super happy on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it glass half full style because I know my bar was set low anyway, and it's a kids movie. It's a kids movie. Like I'm not trying to analyze it like it's supposed to be some epic.
I will say I like the length of the film. It didn't overdo its runtime.
Oh yeah,
it is a nice,
39?
pretty
Good.
little package of a film that way. Its pacing's pretty good. Just a dull script. It's an hour and 15 minutes or whatever, mostly cat and mouse with some origin sprinkled in there, and the cat and mouse being between Sonic and Robotnik.
Which is kind of should be. So.
But anyways,
yes.
That wraps it up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Comment, share, like, subscribe.
Yeah, and go ahead and leave a comment if you have any opinions on what you think the Sonic movie's like, or if, any suggestions and anything you want to see us maybe do a retro movie on, go for it.
Yes, and like I said, if you guys haven't checked out Hack the Movies on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Thank
totally
you,
worth
Tony.
your time. Thank you, Tony, and you guys have a wonderful night, and thanks for watching.
Good night.
And that's why you should respond to me when I send you pictures of my... Oh, hey, guys! If you haven't already subscribed to Variant Verdict, what are you waiting for? Ring the bell for new content, and then you can check me out at Hack the Movies on YouTube. Thanks for watching! How do I turn this off? Oh, it's this button.